Hey guys, welcome back to Memo Makes. This time we got amp research power step installation on a 2017 Silverado. Not a lot of tools involved, so this is something you could tackle on your own. We're going to need 13 millimeter wrench socket, some crimpers, a heat gun, and I think a 10 millimeter to connect to the battery. Beyond that, there's not really a lot of tools you're going to need, maybe a lamp. It is the kind of thing you could do in your garage, in your driveway. So stick with us, check the video out, and we'll see you at the end. Alright guys, we're going power steps on this Silverado. ¿Qué año es esta madre? 2017 Silverado. Now we may have to cut the steps. They're replacing the spacers in the back, and then I'm going to do the steps. This is the instructions for the kit. This is the years and models that it covers. It covers some of the HD models. It covers the regular Silverado double cab and crew cab. There's the years also that it covers. Pretty good instructions, like I said, from these guys. We usually get good instructions. This is the hardware. You can see the motors there, the brains or the module there, all the nuts, bolts, the J nuts. I believe those are called J nuts, or wing. No, they're not wing nuts. They're J nuts, I believe they're called. This is the bracket that holds the brake cable in place once the steps are in there. That's the idler arm there. It's the one that swings freely. The other one is the one that has the motor on it. That's the hook there again that's going to relocate the brake cable. That's what's going to go on first. You see the instructions tell you how to do it there. Really easy installation on this little piece. Just put in the J nut in the hole that's already there and tighten it down with a 13 millimeter bolt. Now we're going to install the front linkage. Again, just a J nut. A couple of J nuts actually go on there for you to put in the 13 millimeter bolts. In this case it's 2 bolts, one upper, one lower. We do have to clean up the area a little bit because if there's dirt on there, you won't get flat to flat mating surfaces, and that can affect the alignment of the steps, and it will affect the motion of the steps. So getting flat surfaces or mating surfaces is kind of important there. Now on these lower nut and bolts, you have to bring in the bolt from the bottom, and then the nut comes in from the top, so you'll have to wiggle around or fiddle around a little bit to get it in place. I don't remember if I used a wrench or a socket from the top to be able to reach that nut. Nothing gets torqued down anyway at this point. First we do all the parts location, then we check the alignment on the steps, then we'll snug everything down and then torque everything down to specs. And of course we want to make sure that that arm moves freely, so we're going to check it 2 or 3 times, maybe 4. We'll move our lamp so we can do the rear arm this time. Remove some of the caps that are on the body so that we can put the arm nice and flat against the body. Same as before, J nut and bolt at the top, and then a nut and bolt for the bottom. So this is the wiring harness. The instructions tell you how to lay it down. The brain goes by the battery strapped in right there. We're going to guide some of the wiring across the top of the firewall. Brain goes there. Some of the wiring goes down. Some of it goes across, then down to the bottom, then to the back. From the lower part, you can see where we already started guiding the wiring from the fender between the chassis mount and the body down towards the back. There it is. It's still loose, but it's already guided halfway down, or a third of the way down. And now we're going to guide the rest of it down the chassis, between the actual chassis and the body. It's going to go back towards that rear linkage. That rear linkage is going to hold the motor, and there's also going to be 2 connections made for the LED lights that light up where you step. We'll take care of those in a little bit. First thing we're going to do is guide the wiring, and then we're going to actually install the motor to the linkage. And I'll show you that at regular speed so you can get an appreciation of what it takes to do it. Okay, so the first thing that goes on is this lid that covers the gear from the elements, and then it allows the motor to engage to the drive mechanism. And this drive mechanism, it's kind of fiddly to put the motor in. Because of it, you have to align the gears, and then the 3 bolts that hold the motor have to align perfectly. So really what you have to do is just get the motor into the gear and then spin the motor until the holes for the bolts align, and then you put in the bolts there. Of course, these come with the kit, but they don't come pre-assembled. That's to allow you to install it without having to worry about the interference of the motor. Then you just put it in afterwards. Alright guys, we're going to go ahead and pick up the speed again so that the video doesn't get too boring. You saw what it takes just to install just one piece of this puzzle. Just motor on one side. You saw how long it takes just to get it in place. And it still has to be, tightened down. Now we're going to stick on the LED lights that will light up the steps when we open the doors. First, of course, we're going to clean the area really well with a solvent. This is a 3M spray solvent that does not damage paint, but it's very good at removing grease and any kind of adhesive or, anything that will prevent good adhesive from sticking. So these LED lights, they come with some 3M double-sided adhesive tape. It's really good stuff. It's the stuff that they stick on your car emblems with. So I'd be hard pressed to say it would ever come off. Maybe 15, 20, 16, 17, 18 years or something like that I've been installing these. I don't really remember how long these have been around, but forever. And I've never had a case where they come off. Once it's on there and it dries really well, it's rather hard to take them off actually. Okay, now a couple of quick connections. Red to red, black to black, positive, negative. We use some heat shrink butt connectors here. You've seen me use these before. And then we're gonna heat them up with the heat gun to shrink the material and seal them up. So these two wires have to be led up into the body through that grommet there. Then they've got to be taken up the kick panel to the OBD connector so that they can hook onto the module that we are going to install on the OBD connector. What that's going to do is it's going to tell the module for these steps and each of the doors are open. When the left door is open, it'll trigger the left step. Right door is open, it'll trigger the right step. They don't both open unless you open each side. You can open any door on the left, and the left one will open. Any door on the right one will open. And then when you close them, they will also close. There is a delay on the closing though to allow you to get your foot out of the way or whatever. Now we need to remove this trim piece here, kick panel and foot sill, I think they call it. And we're going to bring in two cables down from the bottom through the body, through a grommet that's in there. Okay, so we've got the wires led up through this grommet, which is the one for the gear selector cable. We're going to guide these up through the kick panel up to the OBD connector, which is right there, onto an adapter that comes with the kit. Here we're going to use some cloth tape to insulate and beautify, if you will, the wiring there that may be seen if you look under the dash. These are the kind of steps that aren't necessary for the product to function, but they do make for a cleaner installation, a more professional result. So we're going to go ahead and take a few seconds, maybe a minute or so, to tape this stuff up, make it look a little bit better. So here it is, guys. Got it up through this little retainer, up through the wiring, up into the dash. Comes out, and we just plug this in. Now if they ever need to service the vehicle, they can just unplug this, and that'll just undo these steps, and that's it. Now we'll go ahead and reinstall that kick panel and foot sill or trim piece. I think these are called foot sill, but since the kick panel is also integrated, I don't know what you would really call this piece. Maybe footwell trim piece or kick panel sill plate or something like that. I don't know. So once all the other connections are done, we've got to hook up the power on the battery, or at least somewhere where you have a good power source near the battery. In these trucks, there is a big plate on top of the battery that houses a lot of the heavy duty fusing. So there's plenty of places there available for you to power up. Of course, we're going to remove the fuse for the system that we're installing once all the connections are done, both power and ground, and we're ready for our test. Then we'll go ahead and pop that fuse in there. Alright, so we got our connections, we got our ground, and we got our 12 volt positive right from the junction box there. We got the control box mounted up and all the wiring guided. So you see how the step coils back up, comes back up as soon as you open one of the doors. Close it up, takes a few seconds and it comes back in, and the door will trigger it. And then we will check the other side. The drive step is the rear one. The front one is just the idler. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and mount the steps. Now these steps get mounted using some blocks that are installed onto these steps. Now they slide back and forth. There's two of them, obviously, one that goes onto the front linkage, one that goes onto the rear linkage. Now this is a job best done by two people because, you know, the blocks that hold the threads, they move around on the step, and you have to get those onto the idlers, but you also have to make sure that you don't, you can't leave one side hanging all the way down to the floor, or else you can't get the other one on. They kind of both have to be at a level, at the idler arm level, so that you can get them in. So a lot of the time when help isn't available, men will struggle a little bit with it, but it's best done by two people. Just somebody to hold one end for you while you slide or guide the threaded insert onto the idler arm, and then put the bolts in it. Alright guys, so that's them open there. That's them retracted. Can't really tell. Even if you scoot down and look, there's still a pretty smooth looking. They look just kind of like a Nerf bar that's tucked in. And that's it there. Pretty good looking steps. They've got that rough texture. It's a non-slip texture, I guess you would call it. And you see those lights, they light up pretty good at night. So there's a full shot of it, guys. Pretty bright out. And that's what they look like when they're out. I don't think you can see it too good because of the glare. I'll go around the other side. So that's extended. Well, that's it, guys. I hope you liked the video. Hope you got something out of it. Maybe you or somebody you know has a truck that they're thinking about doing this to. They make these steps for a lot. I think pretty much just about for any pickup truck. They make them for single cabs, extended cabs, crew cabs. Check out the link in the description. It's no longer affiliate links. It's just a regular Amazon link. Or maybe you could research, find their website, and I'm sure they'll make one for your truck as well. Check out some of our other videos. Like, subscribe, share the video with a friend, and we'll see you on the next one.